So you just got done watching the fights. The kids are asleep. The wife's in the other room doing, well, what wives do.
Am I the only one that does a goddamn thing around here? How hard is it to pick up after yourself?
So decision time. You could either go in the other room and deal with...
After all I've done today, you expect me to wanna...
Or keep it locked right here, because it's time for the Billy C post-fight wrap-up on the BillyCBoxing.com network. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Billy C.
Good evening. We're coming to you live from the Billy C studio in Lake George, New York, and it's time for Billy C's Manny Pacquiao versus Jessie Vargas post-fight show. The fight just ended on pay-per-view. In case you missed it, Manny Pacquiao won a unanimous decision over Jessie Vargas. The judges scored it 114-113, which I thought was a little crazy. And the other two had it 118-109 in favor of Manny Pacquiao. I scored it 117-110. I thought it was a good fight. Just real quickly, in undercard action, Zhao Shiming won the vacant WBO flyweight title when he beat Prasastak Parapram, which I can't even pronounce his name, so I apologize for that. But two judges scored it 120-107. One had it 119-108, giving Shiming the title. Also, Nonito Donaire lost his title, his WBO junior featherweight title, to Jesse Magdaleno in a pretty exciting fight. Two judges scored it 116-112. One had it 118-110 in favor of Magdaleno, who's the new champ there. And then in a real exciting fight, Oscar Valdez defended his WBO featherweight title by stopping Hariashag Owasa in the seventh round to improve to 22-0. But the big news was Manny Pacquiao's performance against Jessie Vargas. I thought he did pretty well. We're going to open up the phone lines to get your thoughts here in a few minutes. But joining me right now, and I'm curious to get his thoughts, is Sal Rocky Senecola. Sal, what'd you think of Manny's performance tonight?
Well, Billy, I said all week, Manny's got to win big. He's got to look dominant, and he's got to try to impress and do what he did. And I'm going to tell you something. This was a great fight for Manny. It was a very good fight for the fans. And but Manny did what he had to do. He was in, he was out. I thought he lunged in a few times and got caught and paid for it, but not that full price. And I'll tell you what, he fought a very good fight, very smart fight. His speed, he didn't miss nothing. He was in and out. He fought a smart fight. I thought Vargas was a little too wide on his stance, even though that is his style, but he didn't use the height to his advantage. And I thought he was a little off balance at times. But Pacquiao did what he had to do. He impressed everybody, including me. So
well, I tell you, the truth of the matter is what he really needed to do was stop Vargas. In my opinion,
he did.
I thought he needed to stop him. He fought in spurts. He did take a couple of rounds off. It looked like to me. I did give Jessie Vargas 3 rounds in this fight. I gave him the fourth, fifth, and sixth rounds. The first round was pretty non-eventful, but aside from the first round and the fourth, fifth, and sixth, in my opinion, Manny Pacquiao won the rounds. But I don't know. I don't know what to think. I thought it was a dominating performance, scorecard wise. But I don't know. I mean, my whole thought on this fight was that Manny Pacquiao needed to do something spectacular in order to, have the fans want to see a rematch with Floyd. And I'm not so sure he did it tonight. I think he won the fight. I think that he's, putting himself in the mix in the welterweight division right now. But have a great performance and have everybody cry, oh, now we want to see you fight Mayweather again? I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, it's so true, because I've said all along, Pacquiao fights Mayweather 100 times, Mayweather's going to beat him at least 90, 95. And I still see that. I still feel that. Pacquiao fought a great fight tonight. He fought his great fight. Um, I think he probably could have tried to close the show a little earlier and let it go 12 rounds. But, let's give Vargas some credit, too. He hung in there. He took some good shots. And I like Vargas coming up and exchanging the punches and staying in the pocket where he did. He just didn't have enough. He was a little slower than Pacquiao,
Way
which you
slower,
called.
way slower.
Yeah,
I think.
well,
Listen,
the rusty old gate.
I tell you, he was way slow. But we're going to open the phone lines here in 1 second. But I just want to say this real quick. I know you didn't get a chance to see the first fight, but Zhao Shimingen improved to 9-1, and he picked up his first world title. The thing is, did you get a chance? The broadcast had some holes. Stephen A. Smith was educational. He was entertaining at times. I thought Timothy Bradley was good.
I thought he was good too.
But my favorite,
was pretty darn good.
But my favorite had to be that blonde Clarissa Thompson. Oh my goodness, that was very enjoyable. I wanted to throw that in, but what I'm going to say is Zhao Shiming's team said that they want Chocolito after that performance. Okay. And although he looked good against his opponent, he lacks the punching power to get it to that next star level, I think. Although he's a big star in China, I'm talking about on the world stage. But then again, he is 35 years old. Maybe that's why he's calling out Chocolito. Jessie Magladeno put on a pretty good performance. I thought the fight was a lot closer than the one scorecard of 118-110. And to be honest with you, I thought it kind of got away from Donaire towards the end of the fight, which justified the 116-112 scorecard. So we have a new champ in the junior featherweight division, and his name is Jessie Magladeno. Now, a fight that I know you got to watch, Oscar Valdez took care of Osawa pretty convincingly. What's your thoughts on that fight?
Well, I had him pitching a shutout up through the 6th round until he stopped him in the 7th. And Valdez, I'm going to tell you something. I'm a big fan of his. I became an instant fan. He was very dominant, and one could say he loads up on every punch, but I don't think he actually loads up. I just think he knows the leverage behind his punches, and he executes the punch very effectively, very efficiently. And I thought he was so crisp, so good with those overhand chopping rights and the hooks that came by. And like a seasoned fighter, the guy would go to the body, he'd bang it to the body, then he'd come up to the head, he'd go back down to the body. I like what I saw from him. He was a very, very effective, very good fighter. And I know he's a young fighter too. I think he's only 25, 26.
Yeah. Overall, with the exception of Donaire, Magladeno. Was it entertaining? All of the fights were entertaining. But
they were entertaining. It was a decent card.
But with the exception of Magladeno and Nonito Donaire, which I thought was a closer fight to pick, all the other ones were the right opponents for the guys that Top Rank wanted to win. Manny Pacquiao, I thought he did a dominating performance. But I don't know. I gotta sleep on it. But the phone lines are open. We'll take one caller at a time. 845-228-8710. One caller at a time. 845-228-8710. And we'll get your thoughts on this fight. And Sal, I don't mean to be too critical of Manny Pacquiao. No. But him fighting in spurts, and I know, we're getting in the chat room. Yeah, he fought great for a 37-year-old. But if he's going to do what he's saying, compete in a welterweight division and try and take on the best fighters or whatever, I don't know. Fighting in spurts, maybe against Jessie Vargas because he was kind of stationary and slow, may work. But you start thinking of the bigger names. Nah, I don't think so.
Well, I give you the kudos there too, because I know exactly what you're saying and what you're referring to, and I think you're right. And of course, Vargas is no Mayweather, so I think that Mayweather's going to give a definite. Mayweather was probably licking his chops watching this fight.
Well, he looked like when they put the camera on him, it looked like he was sleeping. But Dax Dax is on the line. What did you think, Dax?
Dax, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys? It was it was a decent fight. I don't think that Manny Pacquiao looked sensational. He looked good, but he didn't look sensational. I believe that, he had the right guy in front of him. I believe that Jessie Vargas relied a little bit too much and tried a little bit too much to land that big right hand. He did stun Manny a few times with it. I don't think he was used to the movement of Manny, which, is hard to get used to. I think if Timothy Bradley made excellent points behind that announce table where he said, Manny has a rhythm, where he goes side to side, and then, when he goes over to the right, and then he shoots out the big left hand. And you can see Vargas tried to figure that out, but the point of the matter is that Vargas just kind of became mesmerized with it. And as the fight went on, he became tired, he became discouraged. Manny, by that point in time, had landed, quite a few punches. Vargas's eye was swelling up. So, Manny Pacquiao, he had the right guy in front of him. I think Jessie Vargas will be back. He's going to learn from this. But, as far as Manny Pacquiao with any of those top names, I would stay away from, I would stay away from the Keith Thurmans. I would definitely stay away from the Kell Brooks, and I would certainly stay away from, the young guns that are coming up, like an Errol Spence Jr. Considering the times that Manny was caught by Vargas, he seemed to be really shook up by them. So, this should be his farewell fight, in my opinion.
Not a bad idea about that, Dax, because if I was just going to say, when you finished, I was just going to say, well, if I'm Manny Pacquiao, the only fight really I would even consider is a rematch against Floyd. That's it.
That's about it. There's a lot of good competition out there in the welterweight division.
Too good, and I agree with Dax.
Dax perfectly stated. Well said.
If his career was over today, he ends his career with winning another title. He could retire as champ, and the fight before that against Timothy Bradley, arguably, a top pound for pound fighter. So that's nothing to be ashamed of. And if he can get the Floyd fight, fine. If not. I don't know what he got paid for. Hey, did you hear about any money, what he got paid for this fight, Dax?
I actually didn't even pay attention to any of that, to be honest with you. But, onto that point, like you were stating, on top of what would really look good, on his record, come years down the road, is he beat a guy who has only one loss on his record, and that was to another pound-for-pound fighter in Timothy Bradley, a guy who actually has a win over Manny Pacquiao. So, that would definitely, that would definitely look good, and this is a guy that's 10 years younger than him. Give that title, vacate that title and call it a day. That is exactly how, if I was Manny, that's what I would do. As far as, Terrence Crawford, would you like to fight him next at 140? Oh, that's better for me. I would love to. Manny always is whatever my promoter wants, but he seemed kind of adamant about that. I think that would be a horrible move. I think the Manny Pacquiao that was in there tonight, Terrence Crawford would have a pretty easy time with, and Terrence Crawford was landing him, the same shots that Jessie Vargas did, and when Manny was stunned, Terrence Crawford wouldn't let him off the hook. So just fade away now. Be like that old cowboy, ride off into the sunset, let the music play, and let it go.
There you go. Hey,
Dax, I agree with you, Dax, and that would be a storybook book ending. But part of the driver, part of the motivation, part of the thing is Manny Pacquiao, in his heart of hearts, has to redeem himself in his eyes to his fans. And
how could he have not have done that? How could he have not done that at this point? How could he have not done that at this point? Hey, Dax,
what I mean, the only fight that it makes sense that he came back for is what you called, Billy, at the pizzeria. He wants to fight Mayweather. That's the only fight that is going to be the signature fight. That's going to be his last fight.
Oh. Hey, Dax, we got a bunch of other people trying to call in. Let me grab another call, and I'll talk to you maybe again later on.
Yeah, all right. And the only other thing, just before somebody calls, I just, talked this week on the WBO. They have to stop sanctioning these fights. I have no idea how the Zhu Shiming fight and Far-Prom was even, a title fight that just frustrates me. So Monday, maybe we can dig a little bit deeper into that, and I can rant a little bit.
That sounds good to me, but, you better make sure you have enough time to talk about all the rest of the sanctioning bodies, because they all do the same thing, really.
You know what? Equally, I hate them all equally. So, I have no problem about dogging them all the same way.
There you go, Dax. I'll talk to you
All right,
later.
everybody. Have a good night.
Take care. That's
Have a
Dax
good night,
Gunn. You
Dax.
can check out his column up on BillyCBoxing.com. Phone line is open. We're taking one caller at a time. 845-228-8710. I saw a lot of you were trying to call in, but like I said, we're only going to put one other caller on at a time. 845-228-8710. If you're also watching or listening live right now, come on over to the chat room on BillyCBoxing.com. We got some great people in there, and we're discussing some topics. And, Dax brought up an interesting point, Sal, about Terrence Crawford and possibly fighting him at 140. I mean, that's a good fight for the promoter, Bob
Great
Arum,
fight for promoter,
and
yeah.
Top Rank, because he's a promoter of both of the fighters. But I don't know. I think Terrence Crawford might be a little too quick, like Dax said, for Manny, and I agree with you said and what I said originally. I think the only fight right now for Manny is Floyd or nothing.
That's the only fight, Billy. And like I said, I think this fight solidified or valued him to have earned that rematch, if you will. So I think that's the only fight that he should probably set his sights on. Otherwise, like Dax was saying, this is not a bad way to retire from a career. But fooling around with the Crawfords and everything else, it's not going to do him any justice or asterisk in his career.
Well, I
He
know.
needs to fight Mayweather.
Well, I know a guy that's on the line right now definitely doesn't want to see him fight Mayweather again. At least he didn't on Friday. But Alex Papali is with us.
Alex.
What do you think, Alex? What'd you think of the fight?
Hey guys, how's it going? I thought it was a decent fight. I thought Pacquiao looked pretty good for his age, and I think he certainly has still got it. Is one of the best, arguably the best welterweight in the world. But he doesn't knock guys out like he used to, so he's not quite as sensational as he used to be. Watching him isn't the same jumping out of your seat experience, but he's certainly still pretty impressive. I think he definitely had Vargas's number. I agree with what you said, Billy C., that the fourth, fifth, and sixth rounds were probably his best, Vargas's best rounds. And I think those were the rounds where he seemed to be able to time Pacquiao a little bit. But I thought Pacquiao looked pretty good. I mean, he definitely wanted a knockout, and he was definitely pouring it on as much as he could. But I just think that at this age, he can't sustain the furious punching that he used to. But he still is pretty impressive. And I do think that it was nice to have a night of boxing again, even though it was $70. Oscar Valdez was impressive.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was. Sal said it was the first words out of his mouth before we went even on air. But, speaking of which, you bring up another great point, which we talked about earlier in the week on the show. The production, the Top Rank production, I thought, it had some holes in there. I really enjoyed the Blonde. She really made the show for me. I closed my eyes to all the other garbage, but different announcers. Brian Kenny's solid. But as far as the fights themselves, I liked it, Alex. It was a throwback of what pay-per-views used to be.
Good card.
I thought they were safe but competitive fights.
Yes.
I agree. I don't know about $70, but hey, it was good. Alex, what's your thoughts on Manny Pacquiao fighting some of the top welterweights, a la Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, Kell Brook, Errol Spence, or even Danny Garcia? Should he waste his time with that, or just go for the money and Mayweather, or nothing? What do you think?
I tell you, I'd be surprised if he fights Terrence Crawford. I think Terrence Crawford could really hurt him. But the speed of Terrence Crawford and the boxing ability, both of them are much higher than a Jessie Vargas. So it would be a world of difference in there for him. I don't know. I mean, at some point, he's going to look his age, and all the mileage will show. I think Terrence Crawford's the kind of guy that would end his career. I think the same thing with a Kell Brook. But, like I said, it's maybe I sound silly saying that after he looks pretty decent tonight, but I don't know. I just think that some of those younger Tigers, I think what Dak said as well, and Errol Spence, guys like that, at this stage of the game are going to make him look a lot more of his age.
You know, you've watched a lot of his fights, Alex, and how do you think of his energy management for this fight? You know, I know you've alluded to, you mentioned in the chat room, you know, about the age thing and stuff, but putting the age aside, you know, do you think he was similar to the Manny of old? Has he changed his ways? I saw, my point is I saw him fighting in spurts, and I don't think that he should seriously consider fighting, you know, young guns at this point, sticking around, because it's not going to end well. And I think that his performance fighting in spurts is an indicator of that, you know, energy management. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that to some degree he had to be a little more economical than he used to be. But I do think that I think he did pour it on quite a few times because I think he definitely wanted a knockout. But yeah, he can't sustain the same type of effort that he used to. I mean, you know, in like fights like the Cotto fight or something like that, where it's just a punching machine, or the Margarito fight. I think some of that is you're not going to see that anymore because of his age.
One last thing I want to ask you. We've got a bunch of people trying to call in, and I want to get some other callers on. But did you see the Schming fight?
Yeah, I thought Josh Ming was really good. I was surprised he didn't get a stoppage, but that was it was definitely enjoyable to watch him. He's another one of these guys who just was an amateur forever, and as few fights as he has, it's impressive watching him because he looks like a real, you know, seasoned pro.
Yeah.
But he's got, what, 10 fights, 11 fights now?
No, he's 10. He's 9-1. He's you know, he's a fighter that is accurate and he, you know, he's fun to watch. No power, but I'm curious to know your thoughts. I mean, we all kind of think Chocolatito is the number one pound for pound fighter in the world today, and Zhao's team says they're ready for Chocolatito. Bring him on. You know, as much as I like Sming and all of that, I think that he's a talented fighter. I think Chocolatito's in a different league. What do you think, real quick?
Yeah, I think Chocolatito would beat him, but I do think that hell, I'd like to see it. I mean, I admire you know, the courage and the idea of throwing that name around. Why not? Let's see it.
All right, sounds good. Make the call, Alex. Make it happen.
It's nice to see somebody with some guts, you know.
Yeah, well, you know,
yeah.
I don't know. I kind of recall, Sal. I think you remember something like this too. There was this certain redheaded Mexican guy that said after the fight, you know, us Mexicans don't F around, and he was ready to fight Triple G that night. So a lot of times, what they say after the fight isn't exactly what takes place, you know.
True. But, sometimes it's just bluster.
Yeah. But I do agree. I think that Sming or Sming, they would pronounce his name all differently. But I think he would take the fight, and it would be a money fight. But Alex, thanks for your thoughts, my man.
All right, Felice, you take care. Take care, Sal.
Take care, Alex. Thank you.
You know, he makes a good point. If they want to fight, let them. You know, but
why not? Yeah.
But anyway, 845-228-8710. I know several of you were trying to call in. Now you can call in again with your thoughts, comments, questions, whatever. 845-228-8710. What were you saying, Sal?
I was just going to say, you know, it was kind of neat. You know, it's what you and I have always talked about is the collage of fighters they had on the screen before the main event. You know, we saw the old guys that we always talk about, and there was just a great display with Leonard, Hearns, Hagler, Duran, and did you see that collage, that display there?
Of course I did.
Of course you did.
And you know, the whole moral of that story, boys and girls, was that you know, great fighters do great things, and they show you these great action-packed fights. Which were all so memorable, and of course the end of that collection was Manny, you know, and they're showing that Manny belongs in that breath. But I'll tell you, one guy that they didn't have on there, Sal, was Floyd, because his fights were never exciting. But
I just tossed that to you.
No,
like a serve and tennis ball.
definitely,
You
definitely.
did a great job returning it, pal.
Hey, we got somebody on the line right now, Sal. What's your name? Where you calling from?
How's it going, Billy? It's Chris from Tampa. It's been a long time.
Hey, Chris from Tampa. How you doing, my man? What's going on?
Very good. Just wanted to get your thoughts on the fight. Just going to give my opinion. I thought Pacquiao looked pretty fast and pretty crisp. I don't think Vargas' style was right for him, though. I'll give him credit. He landed some pretty good right hands. But Pacquiao still looks pretty good for his age. I think he gives a lot of welterweights trouble, even for his age. I'd like to see him against some better competition if he wants to keep fighting. And I kind of wish he called out, Mayweather or Crawford, because when Stephen A. Smith was interviewing him, he kind of seemed like they were edging him on. They showed the camera to Mayweather, and he just pretty much said, "I'll fight anybody." So we'll see. I'm still a fan of Pacquiao. It was an entertaining fight. Take it from there.
Well, me. I've always been a fan of Pacquiao, but as far as fighting, so let me get this straight. You would like to see him fight some of the younger welterweights and still make a splash? I mean, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, Pacquiao, his style, even at this age, I think could be interesting against Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, Kell Brook. I'd like to see it. Give the younger guys the time to shine. I think Jessie Vargas is a pretty good fighter, but he's just not up to that level. Style wasn't there. He's too slow, I think. He's a good fighter. He's got a lot of potential, but when he fights upper competition like Timothy Bradley and Manny Pacquiao, I don't think he can really stand up. So we'll see where his career goes, but what do you think about these rumors that Pacquiao Golovkin at 154? I think that's a bit of a suicide match, don't you think?
That'll never happen. I can't. What do you think, Bill?
First of all, Manny Pacquiao is so much smaller.
Yeah.
But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Manny Pacquiao tried it. Manny does things like that. But to be honest with you, and Sal and I have talked about it. I said it before the fight on our show during the week, and I'll say it right now. I think the only fight for Manny is a rematch with Floyd, and I think that's the only fight that Manny should take. Although given a young fighter like Porter or Thurman or Kell Brook or Spence or even Danny Garcia a shot at fighting Manny, that's great for them, But what I think Manny has been around too long and has accomplished too much to go out like that. Like these guys should have been fighting each other. To be honest with you, Chris, the Brooks and Spences and Porter and Thurman did fight each other, but all along these guys should be fighting each other. And maybe if one was out on top, maybe we could see him take on a fighter like that. But just to go that other journeyman route or gatekeeper route for him, I think he needs a big fight, and I think a Mayweather rematch is the fight that's going to happen.
I would like to see that, and I definitely hope you guys will do another event at Sal's. I know it's hard to catch your show since you came to the morning at work, so I catch it every now and then on YouTube. It was a good time for me with Pacquiao 1. Hopefully we can do it again.
Hey,
let's do it. We'll bring it to Sal's.
Chris, to download, if you go to the website, you go to our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and download the Fight.tv app and watch it on your phone. Listen to it on your way, So they play it every day too. So you could do that. But Chris, it was great hearing from you, and we will definitely see you down at Sal's because if Pacquiao and Mayweather fight again, we'll be definitely doing it there. So.
Absolutely.
Definitely, I'm craving that pizza. All right, take care.
All right, Chris, take care, my man.
Take care.
Great call from Chris. He wants to see him fight. He wants to see him fight some of the younger fighters. I don't know. I don't know.
I just think, like I said, the only fight I think for him at this stage that could be a signature fight is Mayweather. That's the only one. That's what he's put himself in this position for, in my opinion.
Listen, let's be honest. Let's be perfectly clear. Phone lines are open, 845-228-8710. If you're watching or listening live, don't forget you can come on over to the chat room on BillyCBoxing.com. We got a bunch of great guys in there chatting. But if you got any questions, comments, you want to talk about the fight, give us a call, 845-228-8710. We'll take one caller at a time. The bottom line is this. he clearly picked his opponent. They knew all about Jessie Vargas. Jessie Vargas did what he does. He put on a tough, gutsy performance, landed a couple of shots, took some shots, and was standing there at the 12th round and lost the decision. I don't think that anybody really is that shocked over that outcome. But I listen, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Mayweather, Pacquiao too. Other than that, Pacquiao should go off into the sunset, like Dax said.
I agree 100%. In fact, you know what, Bill? Could I add this? I heard you guys say, or Dax say, after the fight, with Mayweather there ringside, I'm surprised Pacquiao wasn't so assertive or affirmative about, hey, I'm ready. Let's get this fight. Let's get back in the ring. Let's do it. I thought he could have taken the opportunity to try and sell it, because after all, that's what he's going to have to do.
Well, let me tell you something. My personal feeling is that Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather have already been in discussions, and Floyd Mayweather said, "Listen, you perform good, and we'll make a lot of money together. We'll fight again." And Manny Pacquiao did not want to put Floyd Mayweather on the spot. Did not want any attention drawn off of him and put on Floyd Mayweather. As you noticed, when
you really are a tactful guy. You know what? Look at
I know
you.
the
That
business.
is strategy.
I know the business of boxing.
You're a strategic son of a gun.
And I know Floyd is driving this train, man. Floyd's driving the train.
Man, you should have been my manager.
I'm telling you, and that's what's going to happen. You watch. Manny Pacquiao's being a good soldier for Floyd, and he's not going to make anybody look bad, and he's going to make it all happen. It's all part of the promotion. May 2017, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao rematch. You watch. Hey, a fight I do want to talk about was Nonito Donaire, 33 years old, had picked up the WBO junior featherweight title in his last fight, and was making a defense against Jesse Magdaleno. Magdaleno was giving up substantial height and reach, but this kid, and I had him on the show when we were out in Vegas and did a special, and this kid is like a fitness hound. You know that he's not going to get tired. He's 24 years old, and he won that title, so congratulations to him. But I was really curious that Nonito Donaire's father wasn't in the corner, but let's hold that thought, Sal, because we got somebody else on the line right now. What's your name and where you calling from?
Chris from Canada.
Hey, Chris from Canada, man. How you doing, brother?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. What'd you think about the fight?
I thought it was pretty good. Manny Pacquiao looked Manny Pacquiao-esque, I guess, too. They don't call him the Executioner for nothing.
This is true. Do you think he did an
as
execution?
Far as where Manny goes from here, I think, keep him away from Terrence Crawford. He'll get hurt. I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Danny Garcia.
Danny Garcia and him, you're right. That would be a good fight. You think he could generate the money that Manny would want?
Probably not, though.
You don't think possibility? You think Manny Pacquiao? You said he put on a Pacquiao-esque performance.
Well, like typical Pacquiao, right? His offense is always electric. His defense is always poor. He does a lot of unnecessary movement in the ring. Freddie Roach has never taught him how to cut off the ring on his opponent. So the only weird thing is he didn't do that unnecessary movement, too, because I guess when age catches up with you, it goes in the legs first, right?
Well, those legs are tree trunks. I've always said it, and man, they look like Popeye's arms in there tonight. But he seemed to fight in spurts to me. I've been saying all night. He seemed to be fighting in spurts and energy spurts as well. It almost seemed like a lot of focus.
He looks like he reminded me of Chavez Jr. there too. Fights for a minute and then takes a round off.
Well, I think it was more of energy management for him because he fought like serious sometimes and just going through the motions others. I don't know. I wonder if it was energy management or just his game plan.
Probably energy management for sure.
Any
the
other?
one thing I couldn't stand too was Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Like I was right the first fight with the Chinese guy. Well, I can't pronounce his name though. But right at the start of the 12th round, he was surprised that he only had 10 professional fights. Like, I mean, if you're commentating boxing, know what you're looking at least, or the background of some of the fighters.
I know, but the blonde was so nice to look at. I could care less what
That's true.
You keep going there, Bill.
I know. Whatever Stephen A. Smith said, who cares? He didn't even know how to keep score. He was adding up things wrong and everything else. Hey, we're getting a lot of callers, Chris. I wanted to get you one quick thought. Sal and I were just talking about Jessie Magladeno's win over Nonito Donaire. What was your quick thoughts on that fight?
I thought that was a good fight. I could feel his power almost coming through the screen with that left hand.
Yeah, he's a strong young kid, and I think he's going to be around for a while. He fought a smart fight.
Yeah.
Defensively, he could tighten up a little bit, but aggressive, strong, in shape fighter. I like what I saw.
Absolutely, I agree.
Hey, Chris, thanks for the call, my man.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right, take care. That's Chris from Canada,
Bye.
Sal. I'm assuming it's the same Chris that we get some emails from and stuff. But anyway, before we got the caller, and we are taking calls, 845-228-8710. Give us a call with your thoughts on the Manny Pacquiao fight or any other fight that was on that card. 845-228-8710. And Sal, before we took Chris's call, I was just starting to say about the fight with Nonito Donaire against Jessie Magladeno. The one thing that I noticed that wasn't in the corner of Nonito Donaire was his father. And we had just been talking about this on, I think it was Friday's show, about, how he kind of got back to his old ways and looked better when Pops was in the corner. And here he is again without his father in the corner, and he comes up with an L. Any thoughts on that?
Well, like you said, sometimes when you have that moral support, it's the confidence you have in your cornerman, and we use the old term, and we used to say this all the time. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. Someone would slap and say, "It's out. Nobody's doing anything. It's you. You're out there. It's you're taking the punches. You're doing the punches." True. But when you have that team behind you, you have the cornerman that you have confidence in. You are a part of that. We're going to do this and we're going to do that, and you feel it. Like you have the confidence in your cutman, you have the confidence in your trainer, you have the confidence in just everybody in your camp that they're all on your team and they're going to make sure that everything's going to be fine. And without his father in his corner, very well. Part of that variable, part of that facet, part of that that lock, that tie, it possibly was missing, and it's a hard one to replace.
I always love when they're saying we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and then when the fight's over and the fighter lost, the trainer says, "Well, he didn't do this, he didn't do that," So anyway, Manny Pacquiao with his win, he improves to 59 wins, 6 losses, 2 draws, and 38 of his wins coming by knockout. What was your thought about the job Kenny Bayless did in this fight, Sal? Kenny Bayless is, in my opinion, one of the most overrated referees in the sport. I don't think anybody told this guy, and maybe somebody should, that you're allowed to fight inside. This is a guy that seems to break fighters up as soon as they get in close. What's your thoughts on that style?
Well, I think he should definitely sit and wait a little bit. There was a comment or two that you when a guy gets hit, like I think even in the earlier fight that I liked with Asawa and Valdez, the guy said, "Hey, this is a veteran. Let him punch himself out. Let him get himself out of trouble." And it was good to see that fight do that until it was ultimately stopped. But however, yeah, I think Kenny Bayless, gotta let these guys fight it out and maneuver. A lot of times in the inside fighting, you're jockeying for position. You're feeling the strength of the other guy. You're using his own momentum. You're parrying the punches. You're slipping the punches. You could do it. You can make a fight. It's not just that. Hey, guess what? These guys are touching each other. Let's get them out of here. let's break them apart. No, you got to let the fighters fight a little bit, and having a little bit of touchy on the inside and here and there is not an automatic. Hey, let's blow the whistle. Let's separate these fighters again. No, I don't like it.
I think you make a great point. Phone line is open, 845-228-8710. You make a great point. In the Valdez Asawa fight, Vic Draculich was the referee in that one. And what I like about Vic Draculich, he's been in some controversial fights too. Where he was a little questionable. But what I liked about him generally is he does his final instructions and says, that's it, and then he lets him fight, like he demonstrated in the fight that we're talking about right now. And Kenny Bayless, on the other hand, he's got to throw in his little, what I say, you must obey.
I heard that.
I don't
like that.
I mean, that is the stupidest thing. And then, with all the googly eye faces that he makes, I mean, if I'm in there fighting, I'm cracking up. I'm like, just don't look at me. Don't look at him. Don't look at him. And and then he doesn't let the fighters fight inside.
No.
He warned Vargas for a low blow and didn't even offer to give Manny any time. Normally they say, do you need any time? I mean, so I don't know. I think Kenny Bayless is overrated, and although the fight he didn't become a factor in the fight, I just wonder from Jessie Vargas's point of view, if he was able to fight on the inside a little more, would it have been a little more effective for Jessie Vargas's game against a guy like Manny Pacquiao, who's likes to dart in and dart out and throw punches from angles where he doesn't want to be in a clinch.
And that's funny you should say that, because I often said when they were getting close, I was waiting for Vargas to maybe have a little bit of that sidestep and come up and do this. But before he had that opportunity, I saw the fighters were broken apart again. So, like I said, I think you should let them try to maneuver, jockey for position. I keep using that term, and punch themselves out of the clinch or whatever it is at times. If they're gonna do a freaking waltz and dance and hold on forever, maybe you can step in there. But I think the initial contact and watching them try to finagle the other guy and use their leverage and open up create some openings. I think that's all part of the fighting thing. It's getting a little scrappy there, Charlie.
Bottom line, the fight, Jessie Vargas against Manny Pacquiao, was an entertaining fight. I thought the pay-per-view card was entertaining from pretty much start to finish. I give it a thumbs up, honestly, as far as Manny Pacquiao is concerned. I think he proved that he's in the discussion today among the or I should say, I don't want to mention one sanctioning body, but he's in the mix for all of the sanctioning bodies, titles, so to speak, in the welterweight division or even junior welterweight division if he chose to continue fighting. I thought that he fought well. I thought that when he did go in for the attack, he was very efficient with his punches. He was landing shots, and he was a little tougher to hit than he looks sometimes on TV, but all in all, I believe that his performance out of a 1 to 10, 10 being the best, I think Manny Pacquiao performed around 8.
I think you're right.
He could have gotten a knockout win, and he could have fought nonstop for 12 rounds, but for the most part, I thought he did very well. And like I said, I gave Jessie Vargas rounds 4, 5, and 6. But what's next for Mayweather is what I called, see, there's a Freudian slip. Yeah. What's next for Pacquiao is what I called when he fought Mayweather, and that is a rematch with Floyd Mayweather. I believe it will take place in May. Any final thoughts, Sal? I mean, we could talk about the same thing over and over, but I think it's pretty much the same thing, And
I think you're right, pal. I did see Manny. He just he still tried to lunge in a little bit, and that's when he got caught. And but like I said, all in all, he did a great display. It wasn't wasn't something he has to hold his head down upon. He did a good job. He fought a good fight. It wasn't stellar. He didn't have the knockout. But again, this guy was a what? He was under 120 pounds at one time, and he's moving all the way up to welterweight. So, I think he's done a lot, and he's had a stellar career. He's got a record that he could be very impressed and proud of for the rest of his life. And for me, the only fight, not that I even wanted to see it in the beginning, but the only quest that he's been climbing back up to the mountain before is to get back in the ring with Floyd Mayweather.
He fought less than 110, let alone less than 120. But
yes, yes, you're right.
My question: if you look at his performance tonight, and you put him in against Floyd again, the difference between Floyd and Vargas, if we look at Manny's performance tonight, is that Vargas is kind of stationary and flat-footed, and he was trying to counter punch Manny, but he couldn't match the speed. You substitute Floyd Mayweather in there, and assuming Floyd fights the same way he fought his last time he fought, I'm not saying fought Pacquiao, but just the way he performed in his last fight, I would think that Floyd would use his movement and hand speed and try and keep Manny chasing him, which Manny will do. And one of the callers that we had tonight said something that's very true, Sal. Manny doesn't cut the ring off well. You mentioned Triple G before, and that's something that Triple G does fantastically, and Manny Pacquiao doesn't. And in his early days when he just overwhelmed fighters, it didn't really show. But now, when he's fighting a little more cautiously because of mistakes that he's been burned from, a la Juan Manuel Marquez, putting him to sleep, I think the end result is maybe what you've said, that he fights Floyd again. Floyd and Manny drive away with a couple of truckloads of cash, and we end up with the same snooze fest of a fight.
No, that's it. I think Floyd Mayweather, he's a little more fluent with his motions, and he's artful there, and he's a little more evasive, and he's definitely not a Vargas, but I'll still see the same result. But I think that Manny would have a little bit more being assertive and stuff. But I think that's the only fight I think is going to be on the horizon for Manny, because let's face it, he's had a great career.
Yeah.
And like we've often said, how many more mountains does he have to climb? And he's already done it. And to see him mix it up with some of these young bucks coming up, why go out like that? Becoming, not that he's going to become a punching bag. He doesn't have to, but he doesn't need to be a stepping stone for these guys either. Let him fight Mayweather, and that's it.
Yeah, these guys would want his name on their resume. But
absolutely,
we'll wrap it up here, Sal. And my final thoughts on the fight are simply this: Manny Pacquiao put on a great performance for Manny Pacquiao at 37 years old. He fought great against the right opponent that was in front of him. He did display some hand speed, which still looked pretty good. He was in good shape. His legs looked phenomenal, like they always do. He did take some shots, like you mentioned, but I thought that he seemed a little more accurate. But then again, his opponent was stationary. Listen, all in all, like I said, Manny Pacquiao's performance against Jessie Vargas tonight, on a scale 1 to 10, 10 being the best, I give him an 8. I would have liked to have seen him stop Jessie Vargas. To me, that would have been more of an explosive victory for Manny. But I don't think anybody can really criticize his performance. He performed well and dominating. Like I said, I scored it slightly differently than the judges. I scored that fight 117-110. The way the judges scored it, two of them had it 118-109, similar to my score. And then the one judge,
I didn't see that.
He scored it 114-113, which I'm a little confused about. Maybe he felt that Vargas, when Vargas did land the punches, they were landing harder. That goes back to what we say all the time about, I wish all the judges scored a fight in the same order. The criteria order is should be the same. But hey, nonetheless, unanimous decision, Manny Pacquiao. I thought that He did 8 to 10, 8 out of 10, I would say, 10 being the best. What was your final thoughts on the fight?
Yeah, I tell you, yeah, I scored the fight 118, 110, and I gave Vargas some similar rounds that you did as well. But yeah, I think on a scale of 1 to 10, I had him at about 7 or 8, probably closer to 8. And so, like I said, let the gloves roll, and let's see what's up for the next topic and conversation with Pacquiao. It should have the same name we all are waiting for, and that's Mayweather.
Yep, Mayweather in May 2017. The fight will happen, and Sal and I will be at Sal's place doing an event.
Absolutely.
And don't forget, if you're stumbling across this show, don't forget you can catch the Billy C. Morning Show Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. right here on our YouTube channel, or you can check us out on Fight TV and on your handheld device, Fight.tv. That's FITE. Or you can catch us on a podcast. Just visit the website, www.billycboxing.com. We air 2 hours a day and talk mostly about boxing, but other sports as well. So check out the channel. I'm sure you'll become a regular. Sal, I appreciate you joining us today and every day we do a show. And this fight was good. I leave this pay-per-view feeling good about the overall show and Manny Pacquiao's performance, and I kind of have a positive attitude about this pay-per-view. So we'll have a lot to talk about on Monday morning. We'll get into this fight a lot deeper and some of the other ramifications that will take place between now and Monday morning, Sal. And you know there's going to be a lot of comments and stuff that we'll need to talk about.
Oh yes, I agree with you 100%. You're absolutely right. And I'll tell you what, like I said earlier, I'm a new Valdez fan. He's going to be a future star, long time to come, because he's a young kid. And man, I love some of the power he threw and some of the ways he executed those punches. Great performance.
No doubt. I'm glad you pointed that out. And I thought the pay-per-view was good. But anyway, hey, listen, tune in Monday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern time for us live, or check us out on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/talkinboxing, TalkinBoxing. Thanks for joining us today, and we hope to see you again sometime. Until then, ciao, baby.
Good night, gentlemen.